And we have returned, folks. This is the Ryan Show FM. And we are sitting in studio with New York Giant legend, Carl Banks. And Hamptons Dave, what is that you're donating on your shirt today as a Jets fan? Did you wear anything Giants, or are you sticking with your roots there?
No,
New York City Parks.
Yeah,
right?
it's New York Parks and Recreation because I'm a park legend.
We catch you at those New York City parks.
I wore the Yankees just to keep it New York, but I got to go green. This is football season, and for a Jets fan, up until week 3, we love the NFL season. And then we turn into the Jets just end the season. About after week 3, week 4. But right now, I love it.
I don't know how you do it, but I got to say, Mr. Banks, if it weren't for the Big Blue Wrecking Crew, one of my favorite movies of all time wouldn't have had nearly as good a storyline. And to anyone out there that knows the saying Wyatt Wright, you know Ace Ventura, and you know exactly the storyline that I'm talking about.
Indeed. That was Super Bowl 25 against the Buffalo Bill.
Ray Finkel. Ray Finkel and the Miami Dolphins.
Scott Norwood. Yep.
Scott Norwood.
Yeah,
crazy.
That was one of our best games and probably the best defensive game plan by any defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick was like, when he gave us the game plan, we didn't want to accept it because he was like, you got to let Thurman Thomas get 100 yards rushing.
Yep.
And we're like, get out of here. We don't do that. And he broke it down for us is because their passing game was so high powered that if they're running the ball, they're not moving the ball at their pace. So, and then he had two defensive linemen and the rest were defensive backs and linebackers. And so what he wanted to do, he didn't try to match up. He wanted to put us in zone defense so that we could see everything they did because they ran a lot of crossing routes. So he put his best athletes on the field and he just told us anything that crosses, smash it. So we was hitting, man.
And you sure did. That was a crazy offense. That Jim Kelly Buffalo Bills offense.
Yeah, it was the K gun. They were basically unstoppable because we watched the game in the AFC Championship game against the Raiders. Dude, they put up like 40-something points, but it was like a track meet, and it was nothing the Raiders could do to stop them. And so Belichick came up. That game plan is actually in the Hall of Fame now because, it was nobody had ever done anything like that before.
So how big a role? I mean, Bill Parcells, one of the great defensive coaches and defensive minds in football, but Bill Belichick, because of all the work he's done with the New England Patriots, sometimes people forget how integral a part he was in the New York Giant defense. What was it like to play under Bill Belichick back then? And did you ever foresee him taking the reins as a head coach and arguably becoming the greatest coach ever, according to some?
Yeah, I saw that right away. The thing about Bill Belichick, what makes him so great is that he's very simple in the way he does things. And he's a stickler for techniques. He's a hard-ass coach. I'm going to be honest with you, but you love doing it because everything he gives you works. And so I had him as a linebacker coach. He coached special teams. Like if you were a starter and you had any athleticism, you had to go play special teams. It wasn't for the scrubs. Like he would put his best players on special teams because he thought special teams were just as important as offense and defense. So, anytime he was calling your number and telling you got to go run down on kickoffs, you were like, dropping some F-bombs. But he's like, the only reason I'm telling you this is because we need you. You're our best athlete. I wouldn't ask you to do it if I didn't think you could help us. So we did that a lot.
He definitely brings out the best in every player that he coaches. And it makes me wonder how Tom Brady's going to do on the Buccaneers. I know they keep adding piece after piece around him, but how do you think he's going to fare without the coaching of Bill Belichick?
Well, the biggest question now is who's going to have the better year after the breakup. And, look, he's got a good coach in Tampa. They're putting good weapons around him. So the key for him, any player that gets old, especially at the quarterback position, if you got a good coach, they're not going to let you get exposed for what you're not. And there were times last year in New England where you could see he was getting exposed because he just didn't have a lot of weapons around him. even though, they put a good defense out there so that he didn't have to carry the team anymore, but they just didn't have the weapons that they needed. And I think the Antonio Brown thing really jacked them up, because if he had been there, you probably would have seen a lot better performance. So I think in Tampa, he's gonna have some success. He's gonna have good success. I don't know if he's gonna be great, but from where he is now to coming back down to earth, he's still gonna be better than 90% of the quarterbacks playing.
He's still Tom Brady.
No doubt about that.
Yeah,
Tom Brady or the mother.
Yeah. I think Cam's going to have a big year. I don't know if they're going to have the success I don't know if they're going to have the success that, Tom and Bill had, but just the way, like what they did with Dorsett when he went in there and, they ran those running plays. That's where Belichick and, the offensive coordinator, that's where they succeed, is they just do what they have. And like when they made Dorsett, he ended up cutting nice check from those games that he played when Brady wasn't playing. So if they can, do those running plays for, if he stays healthy, if Cam stays healthy, I don't know how many hits he could take left. He's had a nice long career doing that, but just the plays that they draw up, I think Cam's going to succeed there.
Well, I'm going to just say this: don't count them out, because Josh McDaniels is a very, 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 very creative play caller. And the one thing he has that he never had in Tom Brady was a big, physical, mobile quarterback. Yep. So they'll be able to put some things in. And see, the thing about Cam is he's just not a runner. He can throw the football. He's got a great arm.
So MVP.
I think, they have some tools at their disposal when it comes to quarterback position, and probably more versatility. So they'll do a good job with him. Again, he's not Tom Brady, obviously. There's no Tom Brady other than Tom, but they've got some tools to get some things done.
Oh yeah. But the Giants that's what we rocking with, baby. That's what
Exactly.
I'm rocking with. I don't care what y'all talk about. Well, man, let's go.
Yeah, so the Giants, I mean, there's a reason why they picked high in the draft again this year, because they weren't very good. They got to get better talent. They're getting better talent. I think they're going to be better coached this year. So I'm looking for them to improve, but I'm not going to make any wild guesses as to, if they're going to make the playoffs or things like that. That'd be just crazy right now, considering where they have to go. The offensive line is being rebuilt. Andrew Thomas, the rookie, he's gonna have to learn. He's probably gonna learn the hard way. He's gonna have some good games. He's gonna have some bad ones. He's gonna have some bad plays. But all in all, I think they've improved the team, and I think you'll see it in the win-loss record.
Now, are they buying into Judges the way he, no names on the jerseys? The way he's come in, and it's more like it's a team rather than personal superstars. Like, you think they're buying in like that, or do you think if it goes south, they're gonna kind of turn?
Nah. So I can just tell you from personal experience. Can you curse on this?
Yeah.
You're good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to just say this for, everybody who's think this is so bad for a team. These players don't give a fuck. They want to be coached. They don't. Now look, if you got a young player, they want to be coached.
Yeah.
So, the average age on this team is like 24 years old. And a lot of these kids come from programs where they were coached real hard in college. Yep. So you got guys from Clemson, Penn State, Georgia, Alabama. Those coaches are not cream puffs. Those coaches are very demanding. So you got a roster full of kids that want to be coached, that are used to being coached hard, that respond when they get coached hard. But like none of this stuff that people are crying about outside of the organization, it's not done for no reason. These are all everything that they do. The way he's coaching them is to create a single identity. So no names on jerseys. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You can't see your name. Listen, at the end of the day, you can't see your name on the back of your jersey anyway. So you got the press who's complaining that the players don't have their names on the back of their jerseys, well, what difference does it make? They don't see their name. They can't see their name. You know, these
Good
guys
point.
want to play
Go
football.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, think about that.
Go in
Everybody's
there.
complaining because they didn't put names on the back of jerseys. And the players, I don't know, one jersey, once he puts it on, one player, once they put the jersey on,
Can't
if
see
they're
their
trying
name.
to turn their neck to see their name. It
I
just
would
makes no
be.
sense.
The day and age of
Got to go
vanity.
in there and bust some ass.
Go out there and bust some ass.
It's ready, baby.
You know, from broadcasting, I just got one more question. Like, do you see it being different for you? Are you going to be, when you're calling the games, are you going to be at the stadium? Are you doing a remote location? Like, how do you see the season playing out for you? Like, you're in a weird position, too. You're not, you know, it's going to be really different on your end also.
Yeah, so for the home games, we're going to be at the stadium,
Okay.
but we'll be in an empty press box. It'll just be me and Bob Papa,
Yep.
and our producer.
That's
On the
right.
away games, we're going to be in the studio calling it just like they do in soccer. So
Yeah.
we're not traveling with the team at all this year, and I think it's, you know, for the better, because when we travel, we go out to eat, we do different types of things. So they don't want to expose those players to that. So I totally get it.
Yeah, it makes sense. We just got to make our adjustments, and at least we can still have a season, which is most important to us fans, and I'm sure obviously you guys too.
Yeah, and so I mean, when you look at it on TV, they do so much with the cameras. Even like when you see the NBA, the camera angles are great. So the experience of watching it on TV is going to be just as good.
It's going to be different.
Yeah,
It's going to be crazy. But like, it's just watching sports now. Sometimes it is a little strange, but everyone's making their adjustments, and it's still working. It's still entertaining. And football isn't going to have to. You're not going to change the dynamics of the game.
Yeah, they still block, they still tackle, they catch, they run. That's what people tune in for. You know, the faces in the crowd are great for the announcers to, you know, point somebody out. But end of the day, the players, they're going to play.
What about like in the huddles? Like, do you think they should put the sound out in the stadium? Do you hear that on the other side? You know, I've never been in a huddle, you know, against another team. If you hear the quarterback calling out a play, if he says one thing, you know, pretty much everything's the same amongst the league. Everybody has their different variations of it. But you hear a quarterback say one thing. Do you think they're going to have that sound in the stadium to keep that defense from hearing what the quarterback's calling in the huddle?
Yeah, but the thing about it is, I mean, they're going to have some crowd sound they pipe in. But the thing about it, the terminology, you know, it's a whole nother language. You know, so if you're in the defense, there are certain things that you'll know if they make it simple. But I think, you know, competitively, all of these coaches are going to take that into consideration and have their own code words and things of that nature.
So one last question before we wrap things up. What is your prediction for the Giants season in terms of a record? And like you already said, you don't predict the playoffs, but if we had to make a guess, just so we have the official reaction from Carl Banks himself, what do you think?
I am going to say that I am hopeful that they win a minimum of 6 games.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully Daniel Jones' muscular fingers, 20 pounds extra muscle on those
They
things.
pull it through, man. They got to.
We got this. So
I got one more question. As a music, how good was the Whitney Houston national anthem? I've always wanted to ask somebody that was there.
Yo,
Probably the
she
best-
sang that. She sang that to me. She looked at me the whole time.
I thought so.
It was the ultimate. It was the ultimate.
That's dope, man.
we might just hit him with a little bit of Whitney Houston as we leave off. And Mr. Banks, one more time, let's plug that social media info before this Zoom comes to an end.
It's Carl Banks, GIII. And also, starter, you guys got starter jackets? I know Cheeks had one back in the day.
I got
Starter
I
is
love the
my
starter
brand.
jackets.
So for my gratitude for being on this dope podcast, I'm going to send you guys all starter jackets.
Oh, I love that.
No way.
If we got that
Score.
gang green, I love it.
I got you. I'm going to give you your team. My assistant, Texano will take care of it for you.
Thanks a lot, Carl. Thanks for coming on. This was
Mr.
awesome.
Carl Banks, you are the man. Folks, this is the Ryan Show FM with NFL great Carl Banks. Be sure to follow him now. get ready for the NFL season. And in the meantime, DJ Honky Wonky, take it away. Let's go.